All right, hello and welcome back. If you have been here before, if you haven't, my name is Tracy. This is my channel from the hut. Last 6 months, I have been documenting everything we spend on groceries. Every week I take a video and I give you the totals, and then I do a month end total. So this has been 6 months of doing these. For context, we are a family of 5. There's myself and my husband and our 3 kids from 12 to 7. So I don't quite have a teenager, but I feel like my 12-year-old sure eats like one. So I have sympathy for everyone out there with multiple teenagers, and just know I will soon be in that same boat. So all 3 of my kids are in school and they all take packed lunches every day. There's no cafeteria in our school. I do think they have pizzas on Friday, but honestly that costs more than it would cost for me to make them a lunch. They have no refrigeration, they have no way to heat anything up, and because it's Canada, there is absolutely zero nut policy. So we are able to stay within this budget with doing kids' lunches as well. It is actually one of our more pricey items because I do allow myself some convenience items when packing kids' lunches. My husband works full-time outside of the home. He also packs a lunch every day. He usually does leftovers. I stay at home, and usually what I will do is a salad or whatever else is left over from supper to clean out the fridge. So this grocery budget includes all toiletries, so toilet paper, shampoo, toothpaste, etc. Though we're not a high maintenance family, we don't use a ton of stuff. Cleaning supplies, I also don't use a ton of cleaning supplies. I do buy 1 pack of paper towels a year, and it's more for seed starting than it is for cleaning, but I do buy 1 pack of paper towels a year. And I also do use a bathroom cleaner and Windex as well. Everything else is pretty much vinegar and dish soap. I do buy dish soap. I just bought a year's supply of dish soap actually. I don't run a dishwasher either, so I don't have to buy dishwashing tabs. We don't currently have any pets. We did have a dog up until August of last year. She was almost 13 years old. So this budget does not include pet food. When we did have a pet, we were spending about $50 a month on pet food. What this budget doesn't include is gifts. So we do get a lot of gifts at Christmas time, I find. Of toiletries and stockings and things like that, like toothbrush and toothpaste. Oftentimes that'll last us 6 months or so. And toothpaste isn't expensive anyway. Each kid does usually get like a self-care gift, like a bubble bath and a new shampoo, maybe a conditioner. They also do get some food for Christmas. A few years ago, my oldest was short about 4 gifts to make it even for all 3 kids. So I went to the grocery store last minute. It was like Christmas Eve, and I bought, I believe, 3 boxes of cereal and then like a box of snack cakes or something that we normally would not buy. And it was the biggest hit of Christmas. The other kids were jealous that they didn't get cereal. So now every year since then, the kids also get like a special box of cereal and like a special grocery store treat, one of those things that they would ask for that we wouldn't buy, something. I think we've done passion flakies. We've done those little, what are they called? Caramel cakes, or like a donut, or like something that they normally wouldn't get that's only for them. My mother-in-law also, or my parents-in-law, will often make them up a hamper for Christmas, and in it will be like zebra cakes, something that we can't buy around here, like zebra cakes, maybe a can of iced tea. My son often gets shrimp from them because he really loves shrimp, and it's not something we buy very often because it's quite expensive. Anyway, so I don't count any gifts. Gifts are its own category, and gifts are to the specific person. I don't add that to my grocery budget. I don't count if the kids spend their allowance at the grocery store on a Saturday, maybe once a month. The kids will want to have a movie day, so they'll take a few dollars of their allowance money and they'll go buy a bag of chips, and maybe they'll buy a bottle of pop to split between the 3 of them, and we'll have like a little movie afternoon. I don't count that to my budget because that is their allowance money that they're spending how they see fit. On that same vein, occasionally my husband will buy something at work, maybe twice a month on a Friday, he might buy a slice of pizza, and I don't count that in my grocery budget. That's his discretionary spending to treat himself how he likes. So I don't count that towards the grocery budget. And honestly, this isn't a ton of money. He does not go to eat every day. It is literally, I'd say, once or twice a month. All right, so I'm gonna go through my 6 months of spending. That's all been documented here. I have a list written down of my monthly amounts. Okay, so time to go over the numbers of what we spent for the last 6 months. I'm refilming this because I did this already and I cut off the top of my head. I just had my nose. This just shows I'm not exactly savvy at this. All right, so I'll kind of describe a little bit of what was going on during the months and how much we spent. So I started back in November 2023. And I kind of started on a whim. I just started posting what we were buying every week because I heard so much of people having difficulties keeping their grocery budget down. So I just wanted to give people a perspective of what we were buying. So in the month of November, I was going to Gateway every 2 weeks and Superstore every week. Gateway is about 25-30 minute drive from here. So yes, I was only going every 2 weeks, and then Superstore is only about a 10-minute drive from here. So I was going every week. So in the month of November, we spent $542.64. How I figure out my actual out-of-pocket amount is, just to give you an idea, I take our dollars spent, and then if I earn PC Optimum or Scene Plus points, I deduct that from the total. I count our PC Optimum points like cash. They're very easy to redeem at Superstore, so I have no problem doing that. The issue does come if people count them when they're earning them and redeeming them. You're double dipping. So whatever you do, just you have to be consistent and do it the same way every time. So any rebates, coupons I really don't use very often. I have trouble keeping track of them, but any rebates, coupons, PC Optimum points, I deduct that from my total. But then if I redeem PC Optimum or Scene Plus points, I would count that as cash and that would be added to the monthly total. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So just don't double dip or you won't get accurate numbers. Okay, so the month of November is doing Superstore every week, Gateway every 2 weeks, and my total store spend was $542.64. At that point, I was buying rotisserie chickens quite often because I was getting double, sometimes triple points offers on ready-to-eat meals. That way the offers are stackable. So I'd have like a personal offer, and then I might have an office offer on rotisserie chicken, a personal offer, and then there might be a loadable offer for, say, spend $30, get 3,000 points back. So often on something like a $25 order, I was able to get up to like, say, $13 back in points. They don't seem to be doing that any longer, so I'm no longer buying those items. However, if they start again, I will start buying them again because I go where the deals are. So in December, I always allow us a little extra money. I actually have $200 usually that I have as extra spending in the month of December because I go a little crazy in December. I buy stuff that we normally wouldn't buy. I buy seafood, I buy some fancy cheeses, I buy some fancy crackers because Christmas is for family. For us, Christmas is for relaxing. My husband's off work for the time around Christmas time. It's, usually not the nicest weather. We visit lots of other people, and it's a time that I allow extra in the budget. However, for the month of December, though we did come in over budget, it wasn't by a crazy amount. So our total for December was $719.03. Now, speaking of Christmas, on December 23rd, so 2 days before Christmas, my husband fell and broke his ankle. So he ended up going in for surgery on Christmas Eve. And so our spending for January looked a lot differently. So he was off work, obviously. So I was a little worried about what we had coming in. Although we have savings and emergency fund, I didn't know what the future was going to look like and how long he was going to be off of work. So I pared everything way back in January, sorry. In January, I decided to start buying basically as little as I could get away with and still not really have the kids notice that we weren't buying groceries. So we relied very heavily on our pantry for the month of January. So for the month of January, I spent $243. Turns out this was warranted. My husband actually didn't go back to work until the end of March. So I am glad that I pared down our January budget. So February came along and I knew that we would be spending a bit more money in February. February is a great time to restock on protein. There's almost always a haddock sale in February. I believe they closed down George's Bank for an amount of time, so they usually have a big sell-off before then, and it's really nice haddock. So in February, we did a big restock on haddock. I also knew in February, it's usually when we get our side of pork. So we ended up getting a side of pork in February. February is also when I started to go to Gateway every week. Another thing Superstore did was they started reducing their personal points offers. So they'd already done the stacking thing, I noticed was getting less and less, and I was okay with that. But then so it used to be like for every dollar spent, your personal offer would be 200 points. So if it was spend $2, you get 400 points per $2 spent. They kind of slashed everything in half in February. So all of a sudden point offers where I used to spend $1 and get 200 points, I was now spend $1, get 100 points. So I was already a little bit annoyed at Superstore. So that kind of cinched it a little bit. And we were also going to town almost every week for him because I was taking him to doctor's appointments. So started doing Gateway every week in February. So February, our total spend was $985.67. However, $450 of that was a side of pork, which is a year's supply of pork for us. So we didn't go crazy, but it was a higher amount that month. So in March, I noticed that since I wasn't going to Superstores often, I had the total store spend. My amount was up to $250, even though I hardly ever spent anywhere near that every week. Actually, no, I didn't. Anyway, it was $250 was my total store spend to get additional optimum points, and my total store spend went down to $100, which was a much more manageable amount. So I think I took advantage of that twice in March. Once was when they had a really great price on sugar. Anyway, so I did do a little more Superstore shopping in the month of March, but still, and then I got more PC Optimum points back. So our total in March was $527.71. The month of April, so this month, so I just put out a video 2 days ago on our monthly recap for April. And I did get a personal offer also for Superstore if you use PC Express on a $100 order, you get 25,000 points. So I did claim that one as well, even though I'm not the biggest fan of PC Express, but for the $25 in points, I will take it. So my total spend for April was $633.46. So if I average this out over the last 6 months, we get a monthly average of $608.59. This is for our family of 5. So that averages out, the average of the average, averages out to $121.72. So depending on where you are, this may sound impressive, not impressive. If you are in the US, I will put the American amount of dollars. So I think our current version, I think our $1 right now is at 71 cents each or so. I'll look it up and I will put how much that is per month per person up on the screen now. Really hard to compare even different places within Canada or different places within the US or between US and Canada or Europe or anywhere with grocery prices because it's such a regional amount. And of course, different items can cost different amounts in different areas according to tariffs or taxing or import fees. So I decided yesterday I would go on to Facebook and I'd put on 2 separate groups. One was for a Nova Scotia group and one was for a community specific group. And I asked, what is your grocery budget? Do you have a grocery? If you have a grocery budget, what is your budget and how many people are in your family? 62 responses. 23 of those responses were a family of just 2 adults. And I tabulated all the responses, and the average per month to spend for just 2 adults is $355 per person per month. And I will just mention that these ranged from $125 per person per month all the way up to $645 per person per month. I put a separate category for people with children, and for that I got 39 responses, and that averaged out to $334 per person per month for families families with children. So it's either a single person with children or 2 people with children, etc. And those monthly amounts per person ranged from $150 to $538 per person per month. Now, if someone gave me a range, which a lot of people did, so say a lot of people would say, $1,100 to $1,200 a month. I just split it down the middle and I did $1,150 and averaged it out that way. I don't know how scientific or fair that is, but that is what I did, and I was consistent for every response that gave me a range. I did not assign specific values for people with pets. Lots of people mentioned if they had a cat or a dog or etc. So I did not take any money off if you had a pet. I know specifically for us with 1 large dog, it was about $50 a month for her food. However, there were a few people that specifically mentioned how much their pet cost them per month. And if they did mention that, I did take that off of the total amount. So say someone said they spent $1,200, but $250 of that was on their pet, I gave them a total of $950 a month. So that's my scientific method. Take with it what you will. Okay, so moving forward, I am pretty happy with where our grocery budget currently is. So for the next 6 months, I will be keeping at that $650 per month grocery budget, and I will continue to document what we buy every week. Something I would like to change, and something that interests me, is I'd like to start breaking it down into categories a little bit better. Not necessarily every week, but for the recap, I would like to know like how much we were spending on protein on average a month, on dairy, on junk food, on baking supplies, things like that, just for my own curiosity and to see if there's any gaps to fill in, or definitely I know there's some regions that I can be cutting back if necessary. Something I'd like to pick up is a vacuum sealer. If anyone has any recommendations on a decently priced one, I'd like one maybe in the $100 range. Most importantly, I'd like the bags to be accessible and a decent price. I think I heard Princess Auto sells vacuum sealer bags. Can you reuse bags? Is that a thing? I have no idea. But if anyone has any recommendations, if you could add that in the comments below, I would love that, because that's something we're looking into, especially where we store so much meat. I've also noticed a lot of my green beans. I have 1 bag left of green beans before the garden starts producing. They're getting quite freezer burnt. So vacuum sealing might be something to look at in the future. For new skills, we would love to learn how to butcher ourselves. My husband gets a deer in the fall, fingers crossed. And then we do buy half a pig each year. So we would save some money if we butchered ourselves, and then we'd have a little more control over, not so much cuts because they'll cut it however you want, but then I could process the lard immediately and just things like that. If you did find this interesting, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps my channel. And I would love if you would leave a comment. I love reading the comments, and I try to respond to every single one. I hope you're having a great day. It's time for me to get out in the garden and start doing some more weeding. And my next video will probably be groceries on Tuesday. And then I plan on doing a garden tour for the month of May. And I believe coming up the first week of June, I'm going to do another pantry tour of our pantry before harvest season. So thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day. Bye now.